SoundCloud. So welcome to another Turn On live session, and I'm thrilled to announce that I'm going to be opening this membership back up. I have not had membership opened on this in maybe once in 2025, maybe. And I'm not opening it again until 2026, but I am going to do it in January. This membership has been going for 3 years and it's evolved so much. When we first started, we were talking a lot about the feminine, which we'll still do, but this is more of an embodiment. It's how do you embody the feminine? You know the things, I know the things, we know it, but how do we fully be it, embody her in everything? So today's conversation is so aligned and so perfect. And I want to show you this gorgeous divine feminine deck that Zadra gifted me for my birthday. And I just love it. I want to show you, look at the gold on the side of the cards. And then they're just this beautiful, beautiful brown and gold and black and just so feminine, so sexy, so gorgeous. And the card that I pulled today is the Four of Swords. And it says, eyes closed in a moment of silence. A woman has created a space of rest with her four swords. And the keywords, which I love these cards, they give 3 keywords for everyone. It's rest, silence, and meditation. But here's what I want to read to you, which is what came this morning when I asked what we get to really focus and talk about today. It says, after a period of busy or strained thoughts, this card calls you to clear your mind through rest or meditation. Be firm in the boundaries of your swords and allow yourself the space to pause. This moment is necessary. When you are ready to reemerge from the safety of your still thoughts, you might find new perspectives on the things that were worrying you. But don't think too far ahead. For now, you only need to breathe deeply, clear your mind, and enjoy a moment of peace. And this is such a beautiful reminder of the embodiment of the feminine because we're so rushed, we're so hurried. We're always thinking about what's next. Where am I going next? Who am I talking to next? What client is on my schedule next? What do I need to do next? What meal am I going to create next? What's next? What's next? What's next? And to truly fully embody the feminine is to be. It's to be in the present moment. It's to be here right now, in the moment, focused, present, fully here, without distraction. And the goal is that life becomes a meditation. That as we're walking, that as we're moving, that we are so turned on to all 5 senses that we are having this experience within ourselves of hearing the birds. We don't have to stop to listen to the birds. We don't have to pause to notice our breath because we're breathing. We don't have to pause to notice the sensation of the temperature on our skin, or as we open the door and walk outside and the air blows on our face, this beautiful fall weather. We stop and pause and breathe it in and experience it. So instead of finding time to stop and meditate or stop and be quiet or pause and do these things, we're doing it throughout our day. And the best way to do that is to really activate and turn on these 5 senses. I appreciate closing down the sense of sight as frequently as possible because it forces me to go within. It forces me to come back home to myself. So that's a great way to start. I've said this before, and I want to remind us because it's such a beautiful practice to call all parts of yourself back to you as regularly as you think about it, as regularly as you're sitting in your car and getting back in your car from a meeting, from a lunch with girlfriends, from, time with people or friends in business talking about ideas or whatever it might be. Throughout the day, we are leaving parts of ourselves in conversations or meetings, but we're also bringing parts of that back with us. So we become fragmented and we become scattered. And coming back to what this card says is, just stop and pause and come back home And part of that coming back home is shutting those doors or closing those things or saying, I'm calling all parts of myself back to me so that there's this whole part and parts of ourselves to be able to feel grounded again and to feel like, oh, I'm back. Like here it all is. And so that opportunity to pause and call all parts of ourselves back to us is really, really powerful, really powerful. And this is such a beautiful season to do that because it is getting colder. And as the temperature changes, even as you put on a coat or a sweater or something that's warmer, we automatically contract a little bit. We automatically start to like close in a little bit just by what we're wearing, just by what we're putting on. And so think about that as a metaphor for even like what other places in your life can you just pull it in a little bit, right? Just bring it in a little bit. Summer is so um, bold and bright and long days and long hours, and we're just really, really out there. And we have a lot of masculine energy in the summer, a lot of active energy during the summer. It's so fun, so playful. There's so many things. And then we shift into this winter or into this autumn, and we start to notice the leaves rustling and like falling, right? But they like kind of float down. So it starts to slow down a little bit, right? And then even just the stillness that you can feel, literally like a tangible feeling of the trees as they're starting to shift and change colors. And we just open our eyes and notice and just look at that and really activating that sense of sight by the colors changing and the wind on our face, right? And the leaves being picked up and rustled and moved, and that gust of wind that we can't help but not be aware of and notice. And the sensation of the new cool air on our skin. And so, all of these things that are happening right now are an opportunity to really activate your five senses, paying attention to like even the pumpkin smells and the spices and the cinnamon and the apple and like, oh, I mean, how about you, Zadra? Tell me how you feel about the season of fall and like the smells and the textures and the tastes and like what are your favorite things that you love right now?
It's fun that you asked that right now because today it's raining in Los Angeles and it's that gentle, consistent, constant rain, which I love so much. And that's a harbinger of fall. That crisp air, the leaves falling, changing colors and falling. And I think people in the group know that I'm originally from Colorado. And so watching the seasons change there and the aspens and things like that and the crisp air, just that feeling of like being insular. But then the foods that we eat change, right?
Mhm.
What we feel like eating, we want warm, we want um, root vegetables, we want, spices like curries and paprikas instead of like salsas and stuff. So I really like that. And then I think that this is when we get together for a lot of festivals
Mhm.
that or holidays that nourish and bring warmth to our families and our communities.
Mhm.
And so I do enjoy that. I love the pumpkins. I'm not a pumpkin spice latte girl, but I'm a chai girl. And so this is the season for chai. So I love that too.
Yes. Yes. Everything you said, everything you said represented warmth, community, connection, um, this like coming back in, this coming home. And I like to think about it as it's a contraction, right? It's like a coming in. In winter, we're really going to come in, right? Because, like you said, today it's rainy and it's nice, and you can still pop up an umbrella and go outside and get where you need to get. And you might get a little wet, which is great. And it's going to maybe be a little cool, but it's not going to be frigid and it's not going to be miserable. And it's not going to force you to stay inside. You're still out, but we're shifting our energy and we're kind of pulling things inward a little bit and kind of like coming back home, literally coming back home and coming back home to ourselves, coming back home to our families, coming back home to our communities, coming back home to our tribes, right? These festivals are usually very specific. It's like there's a specific type of community that's being invited and coming and creating these festivals. It's very specific. Um, and so this is that season. And I love the knowing that as women, we cycle with the seasons. And here we are in this season of um, coming back a little bit and contracting a little bit and just slowing down a little bit and pausing and really taking it all in, taking in every sense that is activated right now because they are on, right? I mean, and I said this earlier, and again, it's even what I prefer often when I'm coming back home to myself or slowing down is just a closed eye meditation to really shut down the sense of sight. However, in the fall, it's like I want my eyes open and I am just like taking in the beauty of the colors and even the rain, just to like watch it come down. It's so soothing. It's so like the nervous system and everything. It's just this calming and this soothing and really allows us to just like remember, settle in, settle in, settle in. So I'd like for you and all of us today to think about how are we settling in to this new season? What are we coming back home to? And within yourself, what are you coming back home to? And also traditions or rituals. What traditions or rituals are you coming back home to? Or can you prioritize as an expression of um, your devotion, your sacred devotion to yourself? One of my favorite quotes is make everything sacred. This feels like such a season of sacredness, a season to make everything feel really intentional. Zaidra, you were saying, even like your chais. I think well, for me, in the summer, I'm not even really drawn to coffee as much. I'm just like, it's warm. Even an iced coffee is not really something that I'm like craving or wanting. But I'll tell you, when it's fall and this is happening, I was just like, oh, a warm drink and like to just sip on it and to like feel it literally warm up my body from the inside and like what are things that you're doing, like drinking coffee? I'm going to give as an example, that can become a ritual, that can become a sacred practice. What things in your life have you just been doing because you just do it? Like maybe it's pulling cards, maybe it's writing in your journal, maybe it's sipping a cup of coffee in the morning. Whatever it is, it's the thing that you do, right? We all have our our daily routine. My question to you would be, how can you shift your routine into a ritual? What things could you do to make it feel more ritual than routine? And what little pivots could you make? And again, a lot of the doing part of this or the structure, the masculine structure of the routine, we want that, right? We want to wake up. For example, I've been doing this for years and years and years. I make my bed every morning. It was one of the most simple things I could do that felt like I could be consistent at it and I could win at it every day when I started to create a routine that I wanted to win. I wanted wins in the morning. And it felt like, well, I can make my bed every morning. I can do that win. And even when there are some mornings, I'll tell you, there are some mornings that I just like think, oh, I'll get back to it. I'm like, nope, go get that done. And I do it. But even as I'm thinking about making my bed, right? Like, how do I get to create that to be more of a ritual? And the first thing that came is, I think I'm going to shift up some pillows. I think I'm going to like maybe find a couple of like change up the energy a little bit, of like put on a couple of different throw pillows or switch a couple of things out. It just feels like that would feel that way. Maybe I'll get one that even has like a word on it or like a thought, something, they have those cute pillows that have like whatever it might be on it, but maybe I get one on there that says gratitude and then I just start to speak of things I'm grateful for, right? It's that season. It's the season of Thanksgiving. It's the season of gratitude. And so that's gonna be my my thing that I feel like it just came to me in this moment. So without even having thought about it, I'm just curious to know what is something that you could do in your morning routine to have it feel a little bit more like a ritual? Is there anything popping or coming you want to talk out loud or brainstorm or just kind of put out ideas of how you could change your routine into ritual?
I think that for me, kind of what you said at the beginning, the pause and
Hmm.
the meditation, you spoke to it that we have our routines in place and we just kind of get up and do them because they've become routines, right? Initially they started as maybe a ritual or a plan, and then with repetition we've now turned them into autopilot.
Mm.
Same with like making your bed, or for me it's like journaling. And I think that it's really a state of energy and focus and like who you are when you show up, as to show up in the energy of meditation, to show up in the energy of having me writing, me journaling, pause and recognize and let it be sacred for a minute, right? Instead of just the thing I have to do for 15 minutes every day because that's what I do, just actually pause and put the energy of, I like your use of the word devotion into it, devotion to the self. So I guess it goes to being present in the moment instead of having this be a thing to check off the list.
It's so true. This is it. This is the feminine. This is the true embodiment. And what we're having conversation about now is we want that masculine structure. We created that routine for ourselves that might have started off as a ritual, might have started off as a sacred practice, but we've done it so many times, it's become habitual, which good job. Great. That's a great habit to have. That's a beautiful new auto thing to do. And isn't it interesting that now we go, oh, well, now how do I go back to creating this sacredness around it, this devotion, this like presence? And Zadra, I love that you said this energy of the doing. It's the energy, right? And that's what this all is. To someone else watching or witnessing us, if we were even to record our morning and put it up on Instagram and let someone see it, they would probably be really inspired by how we navigate and move through our mornings, right? And at some point in time, it was really inspiring to us as well and very nurturing and very fulfilling. But what happens is over time we lose that fulfillment because it becomes automatic. So it's a checklist. And the checklist goes back to this masculine space, which again, there's a time and place for it. It's the thing that got us into the new habit, the new routine, the making the bed, which is has great results, the journaling, which is really, really powerful for taking thoughts and putting them on paper and then physically writing them. And like there are a lot of really positive things that come from journaling. The question now is how do you enrich it? How do you make it, how do you now tweak it a little bit more and enrich it? How do we go from this place of, even with this turn on community, where we started 3 years ago of being in a place that we were creating really good habits and we were doing these morning routines because we wanted to make our morning sacreds, to now reevaluating and looking at that again and asking ourselves, what would it look like to do a walking meditation in my life? What would it look like if I were in this energy of meditation always, always? And remembering we're going to pop in and out, right? It's just the default of who we are. Um, and so maybe someone comes into our space and we start talking and having a conversation and we pop out of that, right? but then they walk away and we kind of come back to this like practice of, okay, I want to pause and like reflect on that conversation and call all parts of myself back to me so that now I can leave that and then be back in the present. And there's this dance of how this goes because um what you'll notice, what I notice is that sometimes it takes me feeling the deficit or the deprivation of having left parts of myself kind of scattered before I go, oh, I'm going to call all parts of myself back to me. And now I can literally feel like it come versus what if after every encounter, every interaction, all of these different experiences, could it be this new regular practice of I'm going to bring all parts of myself back to me and I'm going to keep my cup, I'm going to keep myself at an 80 to 90% always. I'm not going to get to that deficit of 30% before I realize, oh, I'm depleted, I'm exhausted. I need to bring more of that back to me. In fact, we're going to continue to read this book because if you have not grabbed it already, I'm going to highly encourage it. This is called Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts. This was, it says the art of pleasure, getting in, not giving it, getting it, not giving it, using the power of pleasure to have your way in the world. Uh, Mama Gina's book, this book was a book that I picked up about a decade ago, and it was really a handbook. And then I bought the course and joined the School of Womanly Arts because she really has a beautiful way of talking about what we're talking about. And so a lot of what we're discussing in this turn on community and in the embodied feminine is a lot of Mama Gina's work. She's really created this foundation for a lot of what I teach and live and believe, and then it's been beautiful to even like add to it and add to it. But I want to bring up a part that I was reading last night and remind us all of this because it's so important. And here's what she says, and I want you to think about this for a minute. How often are we in this space of like, I have a desire, but I don't have it yet. It's like I desire something, right? If there's a little bit of like a longing or a wanting, or it's like I don't have it yet, right? Like I desire this. And one of the things I was reading last night and I wanted to bring here to us today, and this is only on about like page 18 or 19. So you can get here pretty quickly. But she talks about like how can we show up in our lives right now in what we do have and what we've already, the desires that we had that have manifested or come into our lives and be fully satiated in those things now. Sure, we desire and we want other things, but this comes back to the pause again. How much time do we actually let ourselves sit in the gratitude and the juiciness and the savoring of what we've called in that we have it? We have it. So I want you to think about something in your life right now. It could be client, it could be something that you created in your business, it could be a relationship that you've called in, it could be that could be anything like, you know, friendship, love, whatever it might be. Maybe there's like a new car that you wanted, you finally got it. Maybe there was an upgrade that whatever it is, okay? There's something, a goal that you set for yourself. Think back to 2025, the beginning of the year, and like something that you were desiring, and then it's here, and that it's here right now, right now. And what if today, right? We could say life is great. It's amazing. It's not when I get this or oh, my life will be complete or fulfilled or satisfied when, because really, when we say that, we're still in a deficit. It's still scarcity. And so what we're doing subconsciously and even verbally is saying to the universe, there's still lack in my life. And what happens is we're not attracting more of what we want because we're attracting more of what we already believe we have, which is lack, not enough. So it's this part of manifesting and it's this part of abundance that exists in being able to look at and see what we have. And we do this with gratitude all the time, right? It's like being focused and grateful for what we have right now. But what if we really eliminated that life will be completely satisfying when, and we focus on what is satisfying and what is right now. And the way we do this, and this is what we're diving into today because of this book and because of that idea that she gave, is making life sacred right now. Making everything yummy and juicy right now. I want you to think about even when you're cooking and whatever it is, and maybe even it's lunch today or breakfast or whatever that next meal is. What's the most delicious thing you can think of that you want, that you're desiring, right? And like, is it something warm? Is it like, oh, soup would sound so good? Or that warm thing versus what's convenient, versus what's quick? Just pausing and slowing down and like really savoring, because how we show up and how we do one thing is literally how we do everything. And it starts with just living our lives and bringing in and calling in and attracting more of that because of how we be. And so instead of waiting, instead of hoping, instead of longing for, and forward thinking, forward looking, how do we get to just pause right now and make it a ritual and make it sacred and turn on the five senses so that we can really feel and hear and smell and taste and touch everything that is right here in the present moment? Because the present really is a gift. That's why it's called the present. It's a gift. And focusing on the gifts of the present is the energy, right, that will enrich the experience. What's coming up for you, Zadra?
I don't know what you said that sent me down this path, but I think it was when you were talking about when we're cooking, are we making something warm and can we enrich it with the experience? And I realized that when I'm cooking, because I was thinking about what would I make for myself.
Mm-hmm.
The next step, what the next immediate thought was, will my partner want it?
Mm.
Will he want to eat what I made?
Mm.
Then where I went was, well, I'm going to make it for myself and he can eat it or not. He can have it or
Okay.
not. But it was
Interesting.
this energy of like, take it or leave it, right?
Okay.
And what I recognized in your further talking about the embodiment of bringing ourselves in and having it be sacred and really, you didn't say bless the food or bless the meal or bless what you're doing, but making it sacred is
Yes.
kind of what I inferred, is that the energy and the thought that I had, the thought train was, I want to nurture. Like it's in me to nurture and offer food and take care of someone. And then I have a fear that it won't be received. And
Mm.
so instead of not taking the action, I still take the action, but I take it from a completely different, what I wrote is I withhold.
Mm.
And what I real and so then it comes out as, well, eat it or don't, which of course is not received well.
Sure.
Because I wouldn't want to eat I wouldn't want to eat something that somebody said, well, you could have it if you want or don't, right? Like that doesn't feel very good to me as a recipient. And so where I was going is that it really is all connected, and it really does start with imbuing it with the sacred and then trusting and showing up and recognizing that cognitive dissonance that gets in
Mm-hmm.
the way of
Mm-hmm.
imbuing things with the sacredness.
Yes, absolutely. And what I heard you say is, Well, I'm going to reject you first. So if you reject my thing, then I'm just going to reject you first and say, you know what? I don't even care. I didn't make it for you anyway, kind of thing, right? It's like, well, this wasn't for you. However, how would I want you to really, really go into this, okay? How would seduction, now I understand that the word seduction is often used with sexual, and I want you to give yourself permission to take that out. This is not sexual. This is seductive. Okay. How could you create this meal and offer it with seduction? How could you describe it that would literally have his mouth watering and like desiring to taste this? Because the way that you talk about it and the way that you present it and the way that you are telling about it before he ever puts it in his mouth is like he's salivating and he's like, can okay, can I try it now? Like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready for this. You're telling this story as you're making this delicious thing that's turning you on. Your mouth is salivating. You're totally turned on thinking about how good it's going to be. And again, there is zero sex in this, okay? This is actually the art of seduction. Okay. How do you seduce yourself and him into this delicious, warm, flavorful? The texture is so creamy that if you were to wipe off the back of the spoon, you would be able to leave a mark with your finger because it just the way the cream is made and right, and then these seasons that you put in it, and then maybe some sprinkled on top with some pumpkin seeds for the season, and it's steamy and warm, and you smell it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so good. So by the time you two taste it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so good. That that is the experience, right? And really the art of being a woman, the art of seduction, the art of of even with food. That right? Like it's such an Italian, European way of like we're gonna, the aroma and the process of cooking is, it's drinking a glass of wine and enjoying while you cook versus this very American way, which is let's drive through while I'm on my phone, distracted by whatever else, and then grabbing the bag and putting it in the seat and driving and eating, right? Extremes here, very extreme, right? But even without that drive-through extreme, how many times are we in the kitchen and it's just you're in there alone? You're trying to rush and hurry to get something done. The whole present moment of the experience is lost. It's a checklist coming full circle, Zadra, to what you said. It's this journaling or this morning ritual becomes a checklist. How is cooking become a checklist? So much so that you don't even know if he's going to like it or not because you hope, but like, but what if, but what if, right? There's a different way of going about doing that. That the house is smelling and he can, right? It's like, oh man, you can smell the soup, and like there's this experience of like drawing into the kitchen and coming in and like even a little taste right before it's fully ready and like, a little spoonful and a little taste and like just thinking about the most delicious way of serving it and the bowl and the presentation and would you put some garnish on it and what would you serve it with, as you're even thinking about this. I mean, my mouth is literally watering thinking about it. And I'm even thinking about like how delicious would it be if you made like with some sourdough bread, but maybe like a sharp cheddar cheese on it, that there's a grilled cheese with it, but it's not your average grilled cheese, right? Like this maybe has a little bit of garlic butter on it and it's toasted just right. And there's this different type of cheese that's a little, bold and shocking, but dipped in. So this whole experience, I'm going to invite you to like really make it seductive, like bring in this like experience that you're even turned on by, like, this is so delicious and yummy. And this is what we can do even in just making a meal. And there's a lot of this art that's been lost in the making of something so delicious.
What's coming up for me is it's really giving my heart,
Oh,
right? That's
yeah.
really putting your heart in it.
Which is, it goes back to like, this is the beautiful thing that women do. We nurture, we nourish. If you're nurturing and nourishing, it's like you love, like love is in the cooking, right? Love is in the pot. Love, it's like, oh, like here, this is like, that's the part of it. And I think, again, I'm going to come full circle back to the card about pausing and the like pause. How many times are we going so fast that we spill something, we burn something, we overcook something, right? Well, we were going too fast. We weren't like in that moment. You're not going to burn something or overcook it if you're watching it, if you're, slowly creating it, if it's on a slow boil and you're stirring it the whole time because you are present in what you're doing. It's when we start multitasking, it's when we start dividing things, which then energy is divided. Your whole heart and soul is not into the meal if you're also doing another thing. What if we could just be fully present, and create a wonderful, delicious meal that feels a little bit different than how we typically do it, right? Yeah. And what a beautiful experience of sitting down and having that meal and sharing that meal together, having put so much heart and soul into what you've created, right? And then the appreciation of it from your partner, whoever's sitting beside you, of the moans and the and the it's like, oh, this is so good, right? It's like that is like truly, truly wetting the palate and like creating this delicious experience with food. And what a beautiful way to heal our relationship with food, because it is one that we all really dance with, right? How many times do we just turn it off and we're mindlessly putting stuff in our mouths, not even thinking about it? Standing up is another thing. Like, I invite you to sit down. Sit down. How often are we like standing up, eating bites, or like standing up, eating chips, or standing up, right? It's like even grabbing an apple out of the fridge and like standing up at the fridge and taking the first bite. There's these small little intentional things of like sit down and like prepare and be ready and have that, bringing everyone back to the table. And that's a challenging one, especially when we've got, different things happening. I'm in a world right now where it's very, very, very challenging to have everyone home at the same time at night, sitting down at the dinner table. So we don't do dinners as much as we do breakfast now, because I can guarantee everyone's going to be home first thing in the morning, but probably not at dinner. So how can we adjust? It doesn't have to be dinner, right? It could be lunch. It could be breakfast. It could be only twice a week, right? And twice a week is powerful. It's meaningful. We remember twice a week that I sat down at the dinner table with my family, or I sat across the table from someone I love. It's why going out to eat is so great, right? Because someone else is completely taking care of it and serving us, and we get to take a bite and have a conversation, and we're looking across the table at each other. But we don't mimic that very much at home anymore. It's not something that we regularly practice. So bringing that back into our own cooked meals, our own home meals is like such a beautiful way to do that. And I appreciate this conversation because it's something that we do every day. We eat every day, every day. So this is something that you could literally start to be intentionally practicing and making it sacred and making it a ritual, and such a gorgeous time of year to do it. Such a beautiful time of year. I mean, again, I'm even thinking about I've got this desire now. I want to make a wassail or like some kind of like yummy apple cider something cooking on the stove, and like the aromas in the house of that apple yummy thing of just, smell. Smell is such a huge it creates so much nostalgia and memory, like so much, so much. We can go back to like perfumes, right? Like you can smell a perfume and you're like, that was 1992 and blah blah blah. Or like you can think of the department store that used to sell that. I can remember Clinique Happy. Anyone remember that one perfume, Clinique Happy? It was like such a fresh, summery, like high school thing. I just remember it. It was just one of those one of those smells. And so same with the fall and autumn. I believe it's like we have these certain smells that we smell and we're like, oh, it reminds me of, which is why I believe this time of year is such a favorite season for so many people, because we go from being so outside and so out, and like literally sun comes up at 6 or 7 a.m. and doesn't go to bed until 9 p.m. It's a long day. I mean, that's a 15 to 16 hour day. And we're moving into, well, it's not getting light or the sun's not coming up until 7:30, and then the sun is going down around 7. So we've gone from 15 to 16 to 12 hours just in, 4 or 5 weeks. And it's going to continue to do that. And it's going to get darker, and we're going to get less time, and we're going to get less time. And so we come into more, again, open summer outward to coming inward, inside, in smaller circles, in communities, in these festivals, in these different opportunities. And my question for you is, how can you enrich? I want you to think about the word enrich and satiate, and making it sacred and making it seductive and sensual. And like sensual means all five senses. I really want to reiterate that so much of the world has really demonized and made some of these words feel very naughty. And they're not. They're not at all. And it doesn't have anything to do with sex. It can, right? Obviously, that's the obvious thing. But that isn't even what we're talking about. And I intentionally kept the word turn on because it gets people's attention, and yet it is not even what most people think. Not even. Being turned on is turning on first your light, is turning on from the inside so that you radiate your energy, your light. That is the first step. It's the light switch. It's turning on the light within. Then the next phase is, after we turn on the light within and we start to radiate, how do we create more turn on, fulfillment, satisfaction, enjoyment, enrichment, sensual, five senses, right? Okay, great. Now turn on the sight, turn on the ears, turn on the taste, turn on the touch, turn on all of these sensations so that we can be in the present moment, fully aware of all five senses when so often we're not even paying attention. We've, you get a big whiff of something and it's like, oh, wow, did you smell that? But I'm curious, when's the last time you stopped and smelled the rain? When's the last time you walked through, you know, a dirt road or a pathway, right? That's gotten a little bit damp, right? And you can start to smell the pine, or you can smell the aspens, or you can smell these different smells. I'm going to invite you to really, really, really turn on your five senses. I want you to, especially this season, this next month, before our next turn on call in November. The month of October, the next 4 weeks is for you to really be aware and call on your five senses. And it will require you calling all parts of yourself back to you so that you can come from a space of spaciousness and fullness to be able to really turn that on and be aware, right? When you walk into a store, smell. When you walk into a building, smell and see if you can start to identify what am I smelling here? What is this? And you will notice that your senses will become more heightened, they'll become more active, which means things will start to taste better because you can smell. And I find it very, very, very fascinating that one of the side effects, one of the consequences of COVID was loss of taste and smell. Very fascinating. So if you find yourself not being able to smell or taste as well, I believe that through concentrating on really, really finding it, searching for it, finding it, what is that? What does that smell like? Search for it, find it, okay? It will come back. It will come back. And the same thing with taste. Close your eyes and just really, especially the first bite, especially the first sip. I'm just going to invite you to close your eyes and just experience it, swirl it in your mouth, get it on all four corners of your tongue, on the roof of your mouth, in your mouth. Just really, really savor that first bite. Savor it. Swirl it in your mouth. See if you can taste nutmeg, or if you can taste cumin, or if you can taste, right? Like, what is this? And Zadra, when you make this meal, I cannot wait to hear about it, by the way. Please, please share with me, us on Instagram, somewhere in our group chat, somewhere. I'd really like to hear about this experience. Um, the invitation is to say, okay, close your eyes and like tell me what you taste, right? Notice the texture, notice the temperature, notice all these things. This is living a turned on life. You're literally fully activated, turned on in the present moment, fully here. And this is how we give devotion to our lives. We make our lives sacred. We are the creators. No one else is going to come do it for us. It's not when you get that thing you've been wanting, then it's gonna be there. You know, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and she was talking about she thought that when she made all this money, right? She's like, I just thought when I made all this money that like I would feel away. Like I would I would have it. Like it would all be there. And I don't feel the way. Like I have all the money and I don't feel the way. And it's because it's not about anything we can get. It's not about anything that we're going to obtain and then it's going to be there. It is an inside job. It is truly, truly savoring all the moments now. That is abundance, being fully present now. And all of this will give you what you actually desire. This is how we manifest. Manifestation is not about sitting and visualizing what we want. That's phase one. We've done that. We've done that, queens. We've done that. this Turn On community is evolving and shifting and changing because we've been doing the work. Now we get to be. Now we get to embody. Now we get to say, oh, I don't need to just visualize it when I'm sitting and meditating in the morning. It's the afternoon. And I'm going to envision as I'm stirring this soup what it's going to taste like and what it's going to be like, right? I'm in the moment, in the experience of it right now. I'm not in the vision of the future. And that is why we're here and that is where we're going. So thank you for being here. Like I said, I'm opening this up January 2026. I'm going to be really selective. I believe that if you're here, you understand where we are. If it's someone who's not regularly practicing self-care, this isn't a good community. If they aren't already aware of feminine energy and just learning about that, probably not the space. We're elevating, we're stepping this up. If you have someone that you feel like, you know what, I feel like she would really appreciate this community, invite her to come in. I'm going to open it up, like I said, January, and we're going to enrich this community. I've got some really incredible women who have come in, and we've had some women kind of like fall out, and it's just the natural, it is the year of the snake. It's the natural way of it. But I feel like in some ways I've been ready to take this to the next step. And as we've been going there, the involvement is happening and we're really going to shift gears and go for it. So today is a beautiful day to start this. So thank you for being here. And I so appreciate you. And I want to hear how it goes. I want to hear. I'll make sure that I send you a picture of my bed. And in fact, I'm probably going to get new sheets too. As I'm thinking about this, I'm like, if I'm really going to dream this up and like really create this experience, thank you, Zadra, for this, like, and what else? And that's the question. And what else? So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. See you next Turn On Tuesday, which will be November, second Tuesday of the month. I'll send you an invite for that and I'll see you there. Bye.
Thank you.
Yes.